Silence, white, endless snow. The camera moves slowly across a frozen field. Bodies, hundreds of them, perfectly preserved, soldiers frozen mid-step, horses frozen mid-gallop, rifles still gripped in icy hands. No bullet holes, no blood, no signs of battle, just cold, just death, just silence. This is not a cemetery. This is where an army died. Not in combat, not under fire. They froze, thousands of men, gone, vanished into white, and the worst part? They saw it coming. They felt it. They knew. But they kept marching. How does an entire army die without a single shot fired? Who gave the order that killed them? And why didn't they turn back when they still could? This is the story of the army that fought nature and lost. December 1812, Russia. Napoleon Bonaparte stands at the heart of Europe. He has conquered nations, crushed coalitions, rewritten maps. His Grande Armée is the most powerful military force on earth. Over 600,000 soldiers. The largest army ever assembled. French, Polish, German, Italian troops, united under one banner, one vision, one emperor. Napoleon Bonaparte, born in Corsica, rose from artillery officer to Emperor of France, master strategist, undefeated in dozens of battles. At 43 years old, he controls most of Europe, but Russia refuses to bend. Tsar Alexander I breaks the alliance. Napoleon cannot allow it. He will march to Moscow, force submission, return victorious. It will be quick, he believes, decisive, glorious. June 1812, Polish border. The Grande Armée crosses the Niemen River. Soldiers march in perfect formation. Cavalry units shine in summer sun. Supply wagons stretch for miles. Morale is high. Confidence absolute. Officers toast to victory. Moscow is 600 miles away. They expect to be there in weeks. The plan is simple. March fast. Engage the Russian army. Destroy it, occupy Moscow, dictate peace terms, be home before winter. But Russia is vast, empty. Villages burn before they arrive, fields stripped bare. The Russian army retreats, always retreats. No major battle, no decisive engagement, just endless marching into nothing. Weeks become months, summer heat turns brutal. Horses die from exhaustion. Soldiers drink from contaminated streams. Disease spreads, but they push forward. Moscow waits, victory waits. September 1812, Moscow. They reach the capital. The city is empty, abandoned. Then it burns. Massive fires consume whole districts. Food stores destroyed, shelter gone. Napoleon waits in the Kremlin, waits for Tsar Alexander to negotiate, to surrender. No message comes, no reply. Just silence. Weeks pass. October arrives, and with it, the first snow. October 1812. The temperature drops, -5 degrees Celsius, then -10. The army is not prepared. Summer uniforms still on most soldiers. No winter coats, no proper boots. Supplies are 600 miles behind them. The horses that pulled supply wagons are dead, eaten, gone. Napoleon finally gives the order. Retreat. But the army that marches out of Moscow is not the army that marched in. Disease has ravaged the ranks. Typhus, dysentery, starvation. Of the 600,000 who crossed into Russia, barely 100,000 remain combat ready. They begin the long march home, west, toward Poland, toward warmth, toward survival. The same route they came, through burned villages, empty fields, scorched earth, and the cold follows. November 1812, -20 degrees Celsius. Wind cuts through uniforms like razors. Soldiers wrap themselves in whatever they find. Blankets, curtains, rags torn from the dead. Their breath freezes in the air. Fingers go numb, toes blacken with frostbite. The Grande Armée becomes a column of ghosts, stumbling, shambling, dying. Weapons freeze. Muskets cannot fire. Metal barrels crack in the cold. Gunpowder turns useless. Swords snap like glass. Cannons are abandoned, too heavy, Too useless? This is not an army anymore. This is a migration of the doomed, and physics is the enemy. You cannot negotiate with minus 30 degrees. You cannot outflank a blizzard. You cannot shoot the cold. Snow begins to fall. Thick, constant, relentless. Visibility drops to meters. Soldiers lose the road. Wander into forests. Collapse in drifts. The wind howls day and night. It steals body heat. Saps strength. Breaks will, and men who survived Austerlitz, Jena, Wagram now fall to frozen air, warriors reduced to shivering children, begging for warmth that never comes. Early November. The first soldiers begin to fall behind, not from cowardice, from cold. Their legs stop working. Muscles seize, blood thickens. They sit down, just for a moment, just to rest. They never stand again. Officers try to maintain order, keep formations, keep discipline. But the cold does not care about rank. Generals freeze the same as privates. Horses collapse by the hundreds. Their bodies line the road. Soldiers try to butcher them for meat, but the flesh freezes solid within minutes. Impossible to cut. Impossible to cook. Fires cannot stay lit in the wind. Wood is wet. Hands too numb to strike flint. Men chew on frozen horse meat until their teeth crack. Swallow it whole. Die with it stuck in their throats. Medical officers report mass frostbite. Fingers and toes turn black, then fall off. Noses, ears, cheeks. Tissue dies and separates. Field hospitals overflow, then collapse. Doctors freeze alongside patients. Medicine is useless against cold. Amputations are pointless. There is no recovery, only prolonged death. Surgeons abandon their stations, join the retreat, try to save themselves. Commanders send reports to Napoleon. The army is disintegrating. We need supplies. We need shelter. We need to stop. But Napoleon pushes forward. Keep moving. Movement is warmth. Stopping is death. He's partially right. Soldiers who stop do die. But soldiers who keep moving die too. Just slower. The cold is patient. It waits. It takes everyone. This is still fixable. Theoretically, supply depots exist further west. Fortified towns, stockpiles of food and winter clothing. If the army can reach them. If they can maintain cohesion. If the weather holds. But the weather does not hold. And cohesion is a memory. And hope is freezing to death on a Russian road. Mid-November, minus 30 degrees Celsius. The Grande Armée is no longer an organized force. It is a mob, a herd, a funeral procession stretching for miles. Soldiers throw away equipment, muskets, packs, ammunition, everything that weighs them down. Officers cannot enforce orders, cannot rally troops, cannot even identify their own units. Regiments mix, nationalities blend, rank disappears. There is only the cold, and the desperate need to escape it. Discipline evaporates. Soldiers loot supply wagons, fight over scraps of bread, kill each other for coats, for boots, for blankets. The brotherhood of the Grande Armée dies in the snow. Survival becomes individual, brutal, absolute. Friends abandon friends. Brothers leave brothers. Every man walks alone, surrounded by thousands. Utterly isolated. Columns fragment. Some units veer north, some south. Most just follow the road. Follow the bodies. The dead mark the path. Frozen corpses every few meters. Faces locked in final agony. Eyes open, staring, mouths frozen, mid-scream. New bodies pile on old, layers of death. The road becomes a graveyard. The army walks on its own grave. Sleep becomes lethal. Soldiers march until they cannot, then they sit, close their eyes. Just for a moment, hypothermia takes them in minutes. The body shuts down. Core temperature drops. Confusion sets in. Then calm, a deadly peaceful feeling. Warmth spreads through dying limbs. The brain hallucinates comfort, and consciousness fades forever. Thousands die this way, sitting, sleeping, surrendering. Cavalry units dissolve, horses dead, officers on foot, sabers and lances abandoned, Elite cuirassiers in heavy armor now shed their breastplates. The metal freezes to skin. Tears flesh when removed. Light cavalry fares no better. Hussars, lancers, dragoons, all reduced to frozen infantry, stumbling west, hoping for a miracle that will not come. Late November, Berezina River. The army reaches a river, partially frozen. Engineers work frantically to build bridges. Soldiers crowd the banks. Thousands, tens of thousands, waiting, freezing, dying. The bridges are narrow, wooden, fragile. Panic erupts. Everyone pushes forward. Soldiers trample each other. Crush the weak, children. Women camp followers. The wounded all disappear under boots in desperation. Bodies fall into the river. The current pulls them under ice. Others try to cross on foot. The ice breaks. They plunge into water. Hypothermia kills them in seconds. Their bodies float, freeze, create dams of corpses. The living climb over the dead, use them as stepping stones, anything to cross, anything to escape the Russians pursuing from the east. Russian Cossacks harass the rear, not fighting, just watching, waiting, picking off stragglers. They don't need to attack. The cold does their work. They ride alongside the column, close enough to see, far enough to stay safe. They watch French soldiers collapse, watch them beg, watch them die, and they do nothing. Nature is killing the invaders. Why interfere? Entire units vanish overnight. A regiment beds down in a forest. Morning comes. Nobody wakes. 400 men frozen in their sleep, lying together for warmth. It was not enough. Another battalion seeks shelter in a ravine. Snowdrifts bury them. They suffocate, die standing, preserved until spring thaw reveals their forms. Monuments of ice. Artillery is abandoned. Cannons too heavy to pull. Limbers broken. Wheels frozen. Gunners walk away from their weapons. Leave fortunes in bronze on the roadside. Ammunition wagons tipped over. Barrels of powder dumped. Useless weight. The Grande Armée sheds its teeth, its claws, its scales, becomes soft, vulnerable prey. Technology fails completely. Compasses malfunction in extreme cold. Maps become unreadable. Ink freezes. Paper crumbles. Timepieces stop. Metal contracts. Springs break. Soldiers lose track of time, of distance, of direction. They follow the person in front. That person follows another. Everyone lost. Everyone doomed. A blind chain marching into oblivion. September 1812, Moscow, flashback. Napoleon sits in the Kremlin. His marshals advise retreat. Leave now, while weather permits. Return to Poland. Regroup, live to fight another year. But Napoleon refuses. He has never retreated. Never. To leave without victory is unthinkable. Tsar Alexander will negotiate. Must negotiate. The emperor waits. And the calendar turns. And the window closes. Marshal Michael Ney, one of Napoleon's most trusted commanders, veteran of every major campaign, called the bravest of the brave. He urges caution, warns of winter, of supply lines stretched too thin, of Russian tactics, but loyalty keeps him silent when orders are given. He will follow Napoleon into hell, and he does. October 19th, 1812. Napoleon finally orders retreat, but it is too late, not by days, by weeks. The margin for error is gone. The cold has begun. The Russians are mobilizing. The supply situation is catastrophic. A competent general would have left in September, a cautious one in August. Napoleon waited until October, and that delay kills 100,000 men. The emperor could have split the army, sent units on different routes, spread the foraging burden, increased chances of some forces surviving, but he keeps the army together. On one road, one terrible killing road. Pride demands a unified Grande Armée, even if unity means collective death. The decision is made, the die is cast. They could have stopped, fortified a position, waited for spring, sent for supplies, negotiated from strength. But stopping means admitting defeat, means giving Russia the winter to prepare, means losing the psychological edge, so they march. And marching kills them, but stopping might too. There are no good choices, only fatal ones. December 1812, Vilnius. The survivors stumble into Lithuania. Barely 20,000 combat-effective soldiers remain. Out of 600,000, the rest are dead, captured, deserted, scattered across 1,000 miles of frozen wasteland. The Grande Armée ceases to exist. Not destroyed in battle, not defeated by tactics, erased by temperature. Bodies litter the route from Moscow to Poland. Estimates suggest 400,000 dead, most from cold, from starvation, from disease accelerated by hypothermia. Russian forces killed relatively few in direct combat. They did not need to. Winter was their ally, their weapon, their general. It won the war without orders. Spring 1813. The snow melts, reveals the carnage. Farmers find corpses in fields, in forests, in ditches. Thousands upon thousands frozen in place. Some sitting, some standing, some reaching toward the west, toward home. Their bodies perfectly preserved by cold. Faces recognizable. Expressions readable. Horror, pain, regret. All captured in ice. Scavengers strip the dead. Locals, soldiers, opportunists. Uniforms are valuable. Boots, buttons, weapons, wedding rings, teeth for dentures. Everything taken. The bodies left naked, white, piled in mass graves or burned in huge pyres. The smell carries for miles. Smoke darkens the sky for weeks. Russia buries the Grande Armée, and with it, Napoleon's invincibility. Survivors carry trauma forever. Frostbite victims lose limbs, faces scarred by blackened tissue, lungs damaged by frozen air, minds broken by witnessed horrors. They return to France, to Poland, to Germany, shadows of soldiers. They do not speak of Russia, cannot, the words do not exist, only nightmares, only shaking, only staring into fires and seeing frozen friends. Napoleon himself escapes, rides ahead in a sleigh, leaves the army behind, returns to Paris, raises a new army, fights new wars, but the myth is shattered. He is mortal, beatable, not by generals, by geography, by hubris, by winter. The retreat from Russia breaks the spell. Europe rises against him. 2 years later, Waterloo finishes what the cold started. The strategic failure. Napoleon invaded Russia with no clear endgame. He assumed Tsar Alexander would capitulate after losing Moscow. A capital city is symbolic, not strategic. Russia's size meant losing Moscow changed nothing. The government moved. The army remained intact, the will to fight unbroken. Napoleon won a city, lost an empire, the logistical nightmare. Supplying 600,000 men across 600 miles is nearly impossible. 18th century logistics relied on forage, living off the land. But Russia employed scorched earth, burned crops, poisoned wells, drove away livestock. The Grande Armée found nothing, and supply wagons could not keep pace. Horses died, wagons broke, soldiers starved. Mathematics doomed them before winter arrived. The underestimation of climate. Napoleon knew Russian winters were harsh, but he did not respect the knowledge, did not prepare, did not issue winter uniforms, did not stockpile cold weather gear. He believed the campaign would end before winter, believed in speed, in decisive battle, in enemy collapse. He was wrong, and soldiers paid with frostbitten limbs, with frozen lungs, with death, the arrogance of command. Every marshal advised caution, every veteran warned of danger. But Napoleon dismissed concerns. He had conquered Egypt, Italy, Austria, Prussia. Why would Russia be different? Arrogance blinded him. Ego deafened him. He believed in his legend, believed he was destined to win. The cold did not care about destiny. It simply took and took and took. This was not an accident, not bad luck, not unforeseeable tragedy. This was inevitable. A massive army, inadequate supply, Hostile territory, extreme climate, delayed retreat, every ingredient for disaster, perfectly combined. The Grande Armée was dead before it reached Moscow. It just had not stopped moving yet. Military doctrine changes. Russia's victory teaches Europe a lesson. Space and climate are weapons. Retreat can be strategy. Patience can defeat aggression. Future armies study the 1812 campaign. Learn to respect logistics, to fear overextension, to prepare for environment. The lesson is clear. Nature kills faster than bullets. Russian identity strengthened. The victory becomes myth, national pride, proof of Russian resilience. Tchaikovsky composes the 1812 overture. Tolstoy writes War and Peace. Monuments rise across the country. The memory of frozen Frenchmen becomes cultural bedrock. A reminder, Russia cannot be conquered. Winter is the ultimate guardian. The cold is eternal ally. Napoleonic wars shift. After Russia, the Sixth Coalition forms. Austria, Prussia, Sweden, Britain, all united against France. They sense weakness, smell blood. Napoleon's aura of invincibility is gone. He can bleed, he can lose. The campaigns of 1813 and 1814 grind down French forces, not through genius, through attrition, through numbers, through remembering that Napoleon is human. Winter, warfare, evolution. Future militaries invest in cold weather equipment, research frostbite treatment, develop winter training, supply chains improve, insulated clothing, portable shelters, high-calorie rations, antifreeze for vehicles. The lessons of 1812 save lives in World War I, in World War II, in Korea. In modern conflicts, the frozen dead teach the living. The pattern repeats. Hitler invades Russia in 1941. Confident, powerful, unstoppable. He reaches the outskirts of Moscow. Winter arrives, minus 30 degrees. German soldiers freeze. Equipment fails. The offensive stalls. History echoes. Different uniforms. Same cold. Same hubris. Same result. Russia survives. Invaders die. The cycle continues. A soldier stands in snow, and he is cold, hungry, exhausted. Behind him, the way he came. Hundreds of miles. Frozen corpses lining the road. Ahead, more of the same. His fingers are black. His toes numb. He can barely walk, but he can still turn back. Can still try another route. Can still make a choice. Does he keep marching? Follow orders. Trust commanders. Believe in victory. Hope warmth waits ahead. Or does he stop? Desert, seek shelter alone. Risk execution for abandonment, risk death, either way. What would you do when the cold bites? When hope fades? When every step might be your last? The Grande Armée chose to march, chose loyalty, chose obedience, and froze together. Thousands of individual choices, all the same, all fatal. They trusted Napoleon, trusted the plan, trusted that someone knew the way out, but nobody did. The emperor was as lost as the private. Rank means nothing to Winter. What kills faster? An enemy with a gun? Or air at minus 40 degrees? A bullet is instant, impersonal, clean. Cold is slow, intimate, cruel. It takes pieces of you. Fingers first, then toes, then ears, then nose, then thought, then life. You watch yourself die. Feel it happening. Cannot stop it. The enemy you cannot fight is the one that wins. The frozen soldiers of 1812 still speak, from mass graves, from memoirs, from historical records. They whisper a warning. Respect nature, respect logistics, respect limits. Glory is not worth frozen limbs. Victory is not worth silent death in snow. Pride is expensive, and winter always collects. Fade to black. The snow falls. Endless. Eternal. Covering the past. Waiting for the future, the cold remains. Patient, ready. It has killed thousands. It will kill thousands more. Because humans forget. Humans believe they are special, different, immune. And winter waits, always waits, for the next army, the next emperor, the next frozen graveyard. Would you keep marching or turn back? The choice is yours until the cold makes it for you. End.